After years of waiting, the impossible finally emerged. A perfect red heifer, without a single blemish, without defect, upon which no yoke had ever been placed. For 2,000 years, the rebuilding of Solomon's temple had hinged on this one extraordinary requirement that seemed forever out of reach. Yet in the rolling hills outside Jerusalem, destiny stirred to life. Rabbi Azariah. Ariel's words echoed through religious communities worldwide. Many news outlets have reported all the red heifers as disqualified, which is not entirely accurate. We currently have 5 heifers under consideration. But the truth was more extraordinary than anyone dared hope. After careful examination, one heifer emerged as perfect, flawless, ready to unlock ceremonies suspended for 2 millennia. The selection process revealed the razor's edge of prophecy. A single white hair could disqualify a heifer, yet even a previously disqualified animal might become kosher again if that hair disappeared. But this heifer transcended such concerns. Every follicle was examined under magnification, every mark analyzed with microscopic precision. Religious authorities approached with trembling hands, knowing they held the key to unlocking rituals that would purify a people and prepare them for something unprecedented. Genetic analysis revealed what seemed impossible. This heifer carried bloodlines that traced back through centuries of careful preservation. Hidden in remote farms, protected by families who understood their sacred duty, genetic material had been quietly safeguarded across generations. Every chromosome, every inherited trait pointed to an unbroken chain of preservation that defied modern understanding of livestock breeding. The heifer's coloring was flawless, a deep, consistent red that showed no variation under any light. Microscopic examination of individual hairs revealed pigmentation so pure that scientists struggled to find comparison in modern cattle populations. This wasn't random mutation, it was genetic perfection preserved across millennia, waiting for the precise moment of emergence. But the genetics told a deeper story. DNA sequencing uncovered markers that linked this animal to specific regional bloodlines mentioned in ancient texts. Every genetic signature matched descriptions found in rabbinical writings, as though the animal had been designed by prophecy itself. The probability of such genetic alignment occurring naturally was so remote that mathematicians refused to calculate the odds. Behavioral patterns added another layer of mystery. The heifer responded to Hebrew commands with unusual precision, remained calm during religious examinations, and showed no fear when approached by temple authorities. Its temperament suggested not just breeding, but preparation, as though generations of handlers had shaped not just its body, but its spirit for this moment. While the world focused on the red heifer, another preparation had been unfolding in absolute secrecy. Deep beneath Jerusalem, in chambers carved from bedrock itself, the tools and materials for temple construction had been quietly assembled. Stone masons working in complete silence had been cutting, shaping, and preparing massive blocks according to measurements preserved in ancient texts. The stones were unlike anything used in modern construction. Each block was carved from quarries identified through archaeological research as the exact sources used in Solomon's original temple. Geological surveys had traced the stone's mineral composition, matching it precisely to descriptions found in biblical accounts. Every chisel mark followed patterns established 3,000 years ago. Teams of craftsmen, selected for their bloodlines as much as their skills, worked under conditions of extraordinary secrecy. No metal tools touched the stones during cutting. Ancient law demanded that iron never contaminate the sacred blocks. Instead, copper tools and techniques lost for centuries were revived, with master craftsmen training for years to achieve the precision required for temple construction. Hidden workshops scattered across Israel became centers of meticulous preparation. Gold vessels were being crafted according to specifications preserved in rabbinical literature. Silver implements, bronze fixtures, and precious stones were being shaped by artisans whose families had maintained these skills through generations of exile, waiting for the moment when their knowledge would be needed. The red heifer's purpose remained mysterious to outsiders, but ancient law was explicit. Only through its sacrifice could the ritual purification necessary for temple service be achieved. The ashes of the red heifer, mixed with cedarwood, hyssop, and scarlet thread, would create the waters of purification that could cleanse the ritual impurity that had accumulated over 2 millennia of temple absence. Preparation for the ceremony required precision that bordered on obsession. Every detail of the ritual had been studied, debated, and refined by religious authorities working in consultation with archaeological evidence and ancient texts. The location, timing, and procedure had to match exactly the descriptions preserved in the Mishnah and other rabbinical sources. The altar for the sacrifice was being constructed on the Mount of Olives, positioned to face the Temple Mount with perfect alignment. Archaeological surveys confirmed that this location matched ancient descriptions of where the red heifer ceremony had been performed during the Second Temple period. The altar's construction followed specifications so precise that every measurement was verified multiple times. Teams of priests, descendants of the original temple service families, had been quietly preparing through years of study and purification. Their genealogies had been traced through centuries of careful record-keeping, their bloodlines verified through both historical documentation and genetic analysis. These were not volunteers, they were inheritors of a sacred duty preserved across 2,000 years of exile. While the red heifer captured headlines, the real foundation of the Third Temple was already taking shape in extraordinary secrecy. Former Knesset member Moshe Feiglin was filmed near the town of Eli, hammer and chisel in hand, carving stones intended for the future temple. With each strike, he offered sincere prayer. Just as these stones are shaped to honor God, may people too be shaped to live together in unity and stay faithful, so that we can rebuild the Third Temple. The cornerstone itself was a marvel of ancient engineering recreated with modern precision. It has 2 sides of finished, nice style, explained one of the craftsmen. It can be the first stone for the house of God. But this was no ordinary construction project. The stone had been carved from the same quarries that supplied Solomon's temple, shaped entirely through techniques reconstructed from archaeological evidence. Archaeological excavations beneath the Temple Mount had revealed the exact foundations of the original temple. Ground-penetrating radar and careful tunneling had mapped the precise location where the Holy of Holies once stood. Every measurement had been verified against historical records, ensuring that the new temple would rise exactly where its predecessors had stood. The cornerstone bore inscriptions in ancient Hebrew, carved by scribes whose training had taken years to complete. Its surface remained untouched by metal tools during cutting. Ancient law demanded that iron never contaminate the sacred blocks. Instead, copper tools and techniques lost for centuries were revived, with master craftsmen achieving the precision required for temple construction. Beneath the planned temple site, a network of chambers had been discovered that predated even Solomon's temple. These underground spaces, carved from bedrock and sealed for millennia, contained artifacts that transformed understanding of ancient temple practices. Stone vessels, ritual implements, and inscribed tablets provided blueprints for ceremonies that scholars had thought lost forever. The chambers revealed evidence of preparation that spanned centuries. Generation after generation had contributed to the collection, adding vessels, tools, and sacred objects that would be needed when the temple was finally rebuilt. Each item was wrapped in materials that had preserved them in perfect condition, waiting for their moment of use. Among the discoveries were blueprints etched in stone, architectural plans that showed the temple's design in extraordinary detail. These weren't copies of existing documents, they were original plans, preserved by temple architects who understood that their work would someday be needed again. Every measurement, every detail of construction was recorded with precision that modern engineers could barely match. The most astonishing discovery was a sealed chamber containing the original temple vessels. Gold menorahs, silver trumpets, and precious implements that had been hidden before the temple's destruction sat waiting in perfect condition. Their existence proved that the temple's reconstruction had been planned from the moment of its destruction, a project spanning 2 millennia of careful preparation. For decades, descendants of the original priestly families had been quietly preparing for temple service. Their training was rigorous, involving not just study of ancient texts, but practical preparation for ceremonies that hadn't been performed in 2,000 years. Every movement, every word, every gesture had to match exactly the traditions preserved in rabbinical literature. The priests' genealogies had been verified through both historical records and genetic analysis. DNA testing confirmed their descent from the original priestly families, while family records preserved through centuries of exile provided documentation of their sacred inheritance. These men weren't volunteers. They were fulfilling a destiny encoded in their very blood. Their preparation involved rituals of purification that few outsiders understood. For months, they had been following dietary restrictions, ceremonial washings, and spiritual practices designed to achieve the ritual purity necessary for temple service. Every aspect of their lives had been regulated according to laws preserved since ancient times. The priests had also been training with replicas of temple implements, learning to perform sacrifices and ceremonies with the precision required by ancient law. Master teachers, themselves descendants of priestly families, had been passing down knowledge preserved through oral tradition for 2,000 years. Every movement was choreographed, every procedure memorized to perfection. Hidden workshops across Israel had been producing the golden vessels, silver implements, and precious ornaments required for temple service. Master craftsmen, working from designs preserved in ancient texts, had recreated everything from the golden menorah to the smallest ceremonial cups. Each item was crafted according to specifications so precise that they matched archaeological examples found from the original temple. The menorah itself was a masterpiece of ancient engineering recreated with modern precision. Made from a single piece of gold, it weighed over 90 pounds and stood exactly as described in biblical accounts. Its construction required techniques that craftsmen had to rediscover, studying archaeological evidence and ancient descriptions to achieve the required perfection. Other implements were equally extraordinary. Silver trumpets, bronze vessels, and golden ornaments filled chambers beneath Jerusalem, waiting for the moment when they would be carried into the new temple. Each piece had been blessed according to ancient ritual, consecrated for sacred use through ceremonies that few living people understood. The temple's most sacred implement, the Ark of the Covenant, remained a mystery that scholars continued to investigate. Some claimed it had been hidden before the temple's destruction, waiting for the moment of restoration. Others believed it would need to be recreated according to the precise specifications preserved in biblical texts. Either way, its return to the Holy of Holies would mark the completion of a project spanning millennia. The announcement of the Third Temple's construction would trigger political upheaval that could reshape the Middle East, but behind closed doors, momentum was building. Religious authorities understood that government permission remained the final barrier. Right now, everything has been in place, revealed one temple activist. We just need government permission, and then the first cornerstone ceremony will take place. Prime Minister Netanyahu found himself at the center of extraordinary pressure. With political tensions rising and pressure from religious groups growing, he began feeling pushed to strengthen Israel's national identity. At key meetings with ultra-Orthodox leaders and Temple Mount activists, he was shown data revealing that many of his supporters connected deeply with prophetic ideas and wanted ancient traditions to return. Moshe Feiglin's commitment to the temple project was absolute. In interviews, he stated plainly, "If I were the Prime Minister of Israel, I would build the third temple right away." His words revealed the political reality. The temple's construction wasn't just a religious matter, but a question of political will and national identity. Some believed that Netanyahu was quietly supporting rabbis pushing for the temple, with rumors suggesting private funding flowing through religious channels toward temple preparation. With Donald Trump back in office promising strong support for Israel, many felt the political pathway to the Third Temple was wider than ever before. President Trump is advancing a prophetic process that will usher in, when the time comes, the rebuilding of the Third Temple, declared one temple advocate. With the red heifer approved and the cornerstone prepared, the final countdown to Third Temple construction had begun. Israel witnessed the long-anticipated red heifer purification ceremony, drawing huge spectators, religious pilgrims, and international media. The ceremony of the red heifer would be prepared by Jewish priests, the Kohanim, to burn the sacred animal, whose ashes would help people become spiritually clean and prepared to enter holy spaces. Groups like the Temple Institute and the Temple Mount Faithful had worked tirelessly to prepare for construction. Many Jews believed they were living in a historic moment, with growing support for rebuilding the Third Temple from both Jewish communities and evangelical Christians praying for its swift completion. There's no reason why the miracle of the re-establishment of the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible, declared temple advocates. Religious calendars were consulted to determine the most auspicious date for the ceremony and foundation stone laying. Every calculation pointed to timing that would align with biblical prophecies and astronomical phenomena mentioned in ancient texts. The convergence of political support, religious preparation, and prophetic timing created a momentum that seemed unstoppable. Behind closed doors, final preparations accelerated with unprecedented urgency. The selected red heifer was moved to a secure location near the Mount of Olives, where its sacrifice would purify the priests and sanctify the ground for temple construction. Every detail of the ceremony had been rehearsed countless times, ensuring that nothing would go wrong at this crucial moment in history. As dawn approaches over Jerusalem, the ancient prophecies edge closer to fulfillment. The red heifer stands ready for sacrifice, the cornerstone waits for placement, and the priests prepare for ceremonies that haven't been performed in 2 millennia. The convergence of preparation, prophecy, and possibility has created a moment that will echo through history. The implications extend far beyond religion into realms that few dare contemplate. The Third Temple's construction represents not just the fulfillment of biblical prophecy, but the beginning of events that ancient texts claim will transform the world itself. Every stone placed, every ceremony performed, every sacrifice offered will mark another step toward a destiny that has been waiting for 2,000 years. In the quiet moments before dawn, before the world awakens to what is about to unfold, those who understand the magnitude of this moment stand in silence. The red heifer approved, the foundation stone prepared, the ancient prophecies stirring to life. The Third Temple's construction is no longer a distant dream, but an imminent reality that will reshape everything that comes after. The final preparations are complete. The moment of destiny approaches, and soon the first stone of the Third Temple will be laid, marking the beginning of the end of an age that has lasted 2,000 years and the dawn of whatever comes next.